In 3 to 5 minutes, he's walked outside, taken off his shoes, taken off his pants, put his boots back on, and then has started making phone calls talking about how he's cold and pantsless. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. Disclaimer, everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Okay, this might look repetitive to you. I posted this video a while back, but I needed to make changes. I needed to correct a few things. And because of the latest update that YouTube did where they put this like auto dubbing thing on there, it wouldn't let me go in and actually edit stuff out. So I had to private it, download it, edit it, and now I am re-uploading it. And just in, I guess, the nick of time too, because I don't know if anything's going to come from this information, but as of like, I think it was Friday, there is now like a new search underway that I saw on the agency's Facebook page. So stay tuned to the end of this video because this is going to be the original video with Zack's missing timeline. And then at the very, very end will be the latest update from the police. Now, one of the pieces that I originally had wanted to cut out was literally in the very beginning because he didn't disappear January 1st of 2020. He was last seen at a New Year's party on December 31st, 2020. And I say last seen by people that knew him. As you'll see, there's a few sightings of him by strangers driving down the road within about a 30-minute time frame from that last sighting from people who actually knew who he was. And that turned into the next day, which would have been January 1st, 2021. So the story starts at the end, again, December 31st, 2020, and he's actually last seen by strangers on the street by a guy driving by on January 1st, 2021. Now, this story was brought to me by one of my members. She has seen the way that this has affected the family. She shops at the grocery store where Zack used to work. That's the main reason why I put this video out, because I didn't know anything about it until she sent me an email. I'm pretty sure the family greatly appreciates the fact that there are still people out here pressing for information on Zack's disappearance. So let's go ahead and get started on the video. It's been 4 years. It's been over 4 years now, actually. He went missing on January 1st, just days before his birthday. Now, I'm going to have some links down in the description box for where I got some of my information. They have a Google Drive that leads to an anonymous tip drop. So just in case this reaches somebody who might know something, I'm going to go ahead and include that down in the description box too. Now, this story is a little bit wild. Not even a little bit, a lot of bit wild. It's pretty much like a mixture of like Caleb Harris and Noah Pressgrove, except unlike them who unfortunately were found deceased, Zack is still missing. And he was last seen with his boots on, but with no pants, and on the phone, walking down the middle of the highway right after New Year's. He actually was at a New Year's party, but then left just a few minutes before the strike of midnight. Now, again, I looked through a whole bunch of different YouTube videos, a couple different things on social media sites, Facebook, you name it, different things that have been written on boards and different things. And this is the timeline that I have not only been able to find through getting bits and pieces from here and there, but there's also an official timeline on the Facebook group that was created by a woman named Kimberly. This is a very, very small village, really, of maybe 7,000 people, give or take. And so they didn't really have a lot of resources. So the official search was called off fairly early, unfortunately. But unlike in so many other cases that we hear about, his family knew within hours of him going missing that something was wrong. And I've heard on several different forms of media that 4 a.m. is about the time that his family really started looking. And given the fact that his last actual sighting was at 12:25 in the morning, 3.5 hours, that's damn good. But even with that plus on their side that so many families in this situation don't get the chance to have of getting any sort of insight very early on that there's an issue, here we are. We are still here with no answers. So it said that around 4 p.m. he ended up getting back to his house from going four-wheeler riding, and around 6 p.m. he ended up leaving his house and going to a hotel over in Yarmouth where he lived, in the area that he lived, with a bunch of friends to sort of celebrate New Year's Eve. Some girls that he knew and that his friend group knew had a hotel room, so they all sort of hung out. Now, there are some photos that are on a Facebook group that apparently were taken of him and by him while he was at that party. And the people there, I mean, they had no idea that anything was going to end up even happening because it wasn't like some sort of like big rager. And according to a lot of comments in the Facebook group that have actually seen the videos where these still shots came from, he's not really drinking in a lot of these. Now, people are questioning the last one where it looks like he has fallen down. He could have literally fallen down on accident without it being, alcohol related, because, people can be clumsy. So I don't know if this is really an indication that something switched in between him looking fairly normal and not intoxicated to this fall, or if it really is just like an innocent fall and it just so happened to be captured. I don't know. Now, at some point in time, a few of them, including Zack, decided to take a cab to another party in another town over at someone's house. Now, the location, the specific address, the person whose house this was, all of that information, I can't find it anywhere. I looked in the Facebook groups. It seems like a lot of that is being kept really, really quiet, which honestly, considering where this case happened, isn't surprising. Do you guys remember the girl who was found in the Walmart bakery oven? Nova Scotia. Tight-lipped. So there you go. Now, I'm not really quite sure what times people left the hotel. I've seen a lot of different timings, and they don't really make sense for the verified time that Zack actually got to the party with the distance that the hotel was from the location of the party. The Rod Grand Hotel in Yarmouth is apparently where they were, and it's only about a 13-ish minute drive from the hotel to that general location of where the party apparently was. The reports that they left around 10 o'clock at night didn't make sense because they apparently went straight there. Literally just straight there. And again, I don't know if this portion is accurate. I could be wrong on this, but I did hear a couple different times that they didn't all go together from the hotel to this party. That there were actually like 2 different departures in 2 different cabs. And I believe that Zack was in the second one. I could be wrong on that, but I swear that I have that written in these notes and it just keeps going on in my head. So I'm just going to leave it in here and clip it out later if it's wrong. The thing about this party was that it wasn't a lot of people that Zack really knew at all, besides the people that he got there with. This was a party of a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, if that makes any sense. So while he was comfortable being there, besides his own friends that he went there with, he didn't really know a lot of people, except for this one person. Somebody actually was there that knew Zack from the past, and whenever she came out and talked about seeing him there, she said that, yeah, he seemed like he had been drinking, but there was definitely nothing out of the ordinary. And that definitely matters because he would only be at that party for like 25 minutes. Before he would walk out the door. Someone at the party claims that around 11:49 that night, Zack could not get the front door open. So this person helped Zack open the door. He walked out and everything seemed pretty normal. Now, Zack smoked cigarettes, so that could be why he went out there. It's also reported that there was another structure on the property where people were playing, I think, pool or something like that. So that could have also been another reason why he walked outside. But this is where everything takes a ridiculously insane twist, turn, and now, again, we're here, he's missing, and nothing makes any sense. Now, I do have my own notes. I have lots of notes, stuff on the computer, and my sticky pad, all kinds of things. But I want to get the timeline extremely accurate. So what I did is I went and found an official timeline that was created by Kimberly herself that was posted to the Facebook page. And that's what we're going to go off of here. You'll see it next to me on the screen as I'm going through it. Now here we have the 11:25 where Zack is confirmed to have gotten to the party. Then at 11:49 is whenever he walks out that door. And remember, someone had to help him open the door. Nobody really knows if it was just like a messed up latch or whatever, but this person remembers getting up and helping him open the door so he can walk out into the front. Just a few minutes later, he calls a friend and states that he is cold and walking around outside. Now, this is where people are wondering if maybe he was slipped something in one of his drinks because he doesn't seem to know where he is. He actually tells his friend that he's in the Quinnen area. And as you can tell by the map, that's nowhere near where he was literally at all. So I don't know if he just like misheard where they were going or he really was just really confused. Already at this point, he has no pants. His pants were later found along with his wallet, but he wasn't, and neither was his phone. He's just gone. But he still had his boots on in all of his sightings. And apparently, according to, again, comments on the Facebook group, this is the kind of boots he was wearing. And he had skinny jeans on. So you can't take off jeans, much less skinny jeans, without taking off your boots. So literally within a handful of minutes of him walking out of a nice, warm, heated home and walking out into 35, 37-ish degree weather, he's taking off his pants and he's walking around pantsless, walletless, with his boots on, with his phone, apparently calling a bunch of people back and forth, extremely confused about where he actually is, and then he just disappears. And the insane part is that he's very specific, according to Kimberly's timeline here, about where he was in Quinnen. He says he was in Quinnen off of Wilson Road. And that's not true, because there were several people that actually saw him on the Newell Flint Road Highway 334 area where this house party was. People that were just driving by and later reported seeing him. So a few minutes after he gets off of this call, he calls a whole nother friend and says the same thing, that he's really, really cold and he needs a ride. But he's telling these people that he can't take a cab because he has no pants, which is still just like the most insane situation in this entire situation. But throughout these calls, besides being apparently confused about where he really is, his friends are claiming that he doesn't sound like he's distressed or worried or mad or anything. Now, there's a little bridge on the Newell Road area, and around midnight is where someone besides somebody at the party finally actually claims to have put eyes on him walking around the bridge area. A few minutes after this sighting, around midnight, Zack calls another friend and says that he's with Black people. And that's really confusing to a lot of people because there weren't any people besides white people at that party. And it was the same when it came to the hotel. Now, granted, he could have been picked up by people on the road. It's possible. Or he might have not even said that, because this is just stuff that we're being told by people who apparently talked to him. We don't really know what's true or what's not in these little tidbits of conversation because they weren't recorded. Now, Crime with Kate, whenever she did her video on Zack's case, she did mention that apparently there is a house on that road that had these like black silhouette type yard decorations. And if he was inebriated or maybe had been slipped something or something else was going on there, then maybe he could have thought that they were real people. But in reality, they were just yard decorations. That's a big possibility. Now, the friend says he doesn't hear anyone talking, so he can't confirm that Zack was with anyone, but, also, like I said, we can't really confirm this is the stuff that was said either. But there's no suspicion on these people, so none of the family, none of the friends, none of the people after all these years feel like they have a reason to lie, so that just makes it even more mysterious. Now, just a handful of minutes after this, Zack tries to call another friend. Now, apparently this friend was supposed to go out with them that night, but was sick and stayed home, is what I am understanding. This person didn't answer the phone. So if they really were sick and at home and in bed and probably passed out asleep because they weren't feeling good, that tracks. Now, around 12:15, Zack is seen walking with traffic towards Yarmouth on the corner before the Newell Road coming from Wedgeport. Now, I wanted to walk around. I'm a very visual person. I wanted to try to walk around and see what they were talking about. Now, whenever they mention Wedgeport, what he's mentioning is just a direction of travel, because Wedgeport's actually way down here. See how it starts talking about Wedgeport? This is a town. And where Zack lived was all the way over here in Yarmouth. So whenever they're talking about how he was seen crossing in front of Newland Road, like passing Newland Road on 334 going towards Yarmouth, this is the area that they're talking about. Now, I'm going to mention a little bit later on in this video about how his hat and what is reporting to be his pack of cigarettes was found in a ditch on Flint Road. I don't know how far down Flint Road or if it was at the intersection of Newell and Flint. I have no idea. I also don't know if that party was farther down Flint Road than maybe we're being led to assume. I don't know. I wish I had a direct location for where his hat and his cigarettes apparently were found, but again, I haven't been able to find a lot of very specific information in this case, unfortunately. But if anybody has it, feel free to email me or drop a comment. Now, I'm going to drop us right here on this side of Newell. And we're going to take the circle all the way around until it gets to the other side of 334. Now, if anyone happens to see their house on this is public information. This is Google Maps. I don't know your name. I'm not focusing on your house or your house number or any of the things. So, sorry, but it ain't my issue. Sorry, not sorry about it. If you see your house on here, you need to take that up with Google because I am not the man driving the truck and I am not the company. I am just accessing something that is public in order to do a little bit more research on a missing persons case. Now, as you can see, now we are back on Newell, and apparently the person saw him walking this way, going this way. Now, I did notice there's a bunch of little roads. See, here's one right here. There's another road right here. Driveway. I mean, there's driveways, right? Like, there's houses. There's a lot of houses. Like, there was a bunch of houses on Newell itself. There's a bunch of houses on this road itself. I mean, I know that it was, back in 2021, 4 years ago, but that's still very much in the age of cameras. Ring camera systems and stuff like that were hella popular way before that. But then look at all of this, like, forested area. Now, Kimberly, when she was talking about how they set up grids for all this stuff, they ended up going out a little bit further, like deeper into the wooded areas than one would expect, just in case he was farther out from the road to where nobody could hear him from the road. But I mean, there is forested area, but there's also a lot of people. So I'm wondering just how far he could have actually gotten in like a 20-ish, maybe even less minute period. And now if you look at the map like this, you see that Newell is down here. There's this right here that got my attention. You notice how it cuts like all the way through. If we go down to right here, you can actually see where there's like a little like entryway into this stuff right here. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Right here. You can sort of see like a clearing that goes back. Let's see if it shows me anything else. Because I saw... Yeah, I mean, look, here's like a mailbox. I guess that could be for across the street. But it looks like a little bit of a clearing, maybe? Because you see how it's not so dense like right here? And then if you go back, you can see just that cut. And it just looks like it's some sort of trail. Let me see if I can get a clearer... Yeah, look, right here. Like right by the mailbox. See how it looks like it's a trail? And it goes straight through. Now, it says private property, I'm pretty sure, right here. I mean, I'm just guessing from what that looks like. But, possibilities. I mean, I'm sure that they looked at all this. They covered a lot of ground. They really did. But now, let's drop ourselves right on the corner of Newell and Flint. And let's just see how far down it lets us go. Actually, let's turn back around this way because they said that his hat and his cigarettes were found in a ditch. Now, living in Louisiana for a while, living in areas where it floods a lot, I can promise you there's no ditches right here. There's no ditches even a little bit. So, let's see if it shows any actual ditch. Oh, there's a little bit of a... Okay. Down here. I can see like where there would be a wide ditch right here if it wasn't so overgrown on both sides. Jesus, reminds me of the property that I used to have on Lake Trinity. On the Trinity River. It was getting bad. Dang, there's like nothing out here. And see, that's something that I would like to know. Like, is there a possibility that maybe he got turned around and went like the wrong direction? Because... yeah, see how thick these ditches would be? Like how deep they would be if they weren't overgrown? See, I really wish that we had a little bit more specific info. Like here's more ditches in people's front yards. About exactly where he was. Because this road can go on for a long time. Yeah, there's a lot of country out here. So it seems like if he would have gotten turned around and been going this way, then he definitely could have gotten just lost in like literally everything. But there's definitely a lot more homes in the areas where they're claiming that he was actually walking. So again, the fact that there's like no ring cameras, No security cameras. Nothing picking up anything at all. Like, I guess I'm just going to look and see if any of these... I mean, none of these houses even look like they have cameras. That's wild. But then again, I live differently than most people, so maybe these people just feel like they don't need them. I mean, living out in the country, you probably don't. I imagine that stuff's a little bit more laxed. Oh, look, somebody's bringing home a poopy. Yeah. Like, not even on this house. I don't see cameras. Oh, wait, maybe on this right here? Wow, why is the arrow so big? So let me see now. No, that looks like it's just a light. Right here. Holy crap, there's a camera on this house. Tell me that's not a camera. Now this image is September of 2024. I wonder if A, if I'm right, and that is a camera, and B, if it captured anything. Huh. Carrots for sale. Oh, that's cute. Now, it's said that this person was just going to go drop off their wife and then going to be turning around to go night fishing, which is apparently a really big deal in that area, not just for recreational. There's a lot of professional fishermen out there that even though it was New Year's, you know, there's lots of jobs out there like that are very rigorous, very dangerous, that do not have holidays like that off. You'll get paid overtime and your ass gonna be working. So that's exactly what the situation was that night. So that's why I kind of question, because of things that have been stated about how, you know, who's to say that there wasn't a fisherman getting drunk for New Year's and then decided to drive under the influence on the way to the job at the water and maybe didn't hit someone and maybe try to cover it up by taking the body and putting it in the water. Because that is a possibility here. Not to say that that's what happened with this person. I'm just saying it's a big possibility because this was in the middle of the night. There was a higher chance of there being intoxicated people on the road. Yeah, it's a very big possibility. Now, it says that at 12:25, this exact same person, the first eyewitness that saw Zack, is now seeing him again, walking past the New World Road towards Yarmouth. And this 12:25 sighting is the very, very, very last time that the family or anyone else knows that Zack was actually seen. This exact same first eyewitness would then go back to the area around 12:45-ish and doesn't see Zack anywhere. So because of this 12:15 sighting, this 12:25 sighting, and then there being nothing at 12:45, everyone pretty much assumes that whatever did happen happened between 12:25 and 12:45, 20-minute window, and less than an hour after he walked out of that house party at 11:49. Now let's get back to the entire pantsless thing, because again, his pants were not found folded. They were found just there. I would love to see a photo about how they were found. I don't know if his wallet was found in his pocket or if it was just next to the pants, but his wallet was found. And apparently his cards, his cash, everything was in his wallet. Nothing was missing. Now his pants and his wallet were found on the Flint Road, but his hat, which was also found, was found in a ditch. And apparently his pack of cigarettes was with the hat as well. Now, when it comes to the pack of cigarettes, Kimberly has presumably his pack of cigarettes because he smoked, but there's no confirmation that they were his. It's just assumed, I guess, because of the other items that do belong to him that were found nearby. It says that his phone has never been found and that the last time it pinged off of the Bellevue Tower, which is said to be common if you were in the Plymouth area. And we've learned a lot about cell phone towers and the wide range of area they actually do cover. So while it does give you like an idea about where the phone was, if it's also in the same location where he went missing and there's no other information, it doesn't really do a lot of good, unfortunately. Now it says here that after the phone calls to his friend stopped, that the mobile browser was accessed several times, but it doesn't say the timestamps for those things or what was looked up, which is pretty interesting. Now there are a lot of rumors and a lot of blame, and I understand that, especially since one of the friends claims that he tried to coax Zack to come back and get into a cab, but Zack's excuse was that he couldn't get into the cab because he didn't have any pants on. Instead of them sticking around and trying to make sure that their friend that they went to the party with and brought there made it home safely, They just went ahead and took off in the cab and went on about their lives and went home. Apparently, they kept their eyes out for him on the road, which of course you would, because you're already being driven in that direction. You're not putting any effort into that situation. I understand people's frustrations with that. It's the same way that most of us here, whenever we talk about the Idaho case, has frustrations with that stupid 8-hour delay in making the 911 call. Now, the report that I saw said that this conversation about trying to get Zack to get into a cab was around 12:30. And again, it's assumed that whatever did happen happened between 12:25 and 12:45. But if that 12:30 timing is accurate for whenever the friend actually talked to Zack, then that makes that window even smaller, breaks it down to 15-ish minutes or so. But let's also keep something else in mind here. Just because somebody who turned around and went back to the same location didn't see Zack at around 12:45 doesn't mean that something happened to him at that point in time. It's very, very possible. Very, very possible. But there's also a possibility that he jetted off into the wooded area or turned a different direction that person just didn't see, or something else could have happened where he got picked up from somebody and was no longer on that road to be seen from anyone. Somebody who picked him up might have done something to him after the fact. But if you didn't want to get into a cab, I wouldn't see you wanting to also get into a vehicle with a stranger while you were pantsless. But people can force people to do things that they don't want to do. So let's keep that in mind too. Now, I mentioned that I was trying to get this edited and re-uploaded at the nick of time because just yesterday, right now, it is Saturday, 3:15-ish Texas time in the afternoon. So Friday around 2 p.m., the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in Nova Scotia posted on their Facebook page, Public Advisory, the Southwest Nova Scotia RCMP Major Crime Unit is preparing a ground search on May 3rd and May 4th, so it started today, May 3rd, in relation to its ongoing investigation into the disappearance of Zack LeFave. Residents of Plymouth, Yarmouth County can expect to see approximately 100 searchers in the community over the weekend. Now, there is a guy on Facebook. I'm not going to give you his name because he's a normal dude and nobody really knows if what he's claiming is true or not. But he put a post out right before I put this a video out originally, and it was about how he apparently told the cops some information, that this case was about to be busted wide open, that they have spoken to the police and given them some information about a female that they claim is involved. And from everything that I'm seeing in the Facebook groups, there's seems to always be a female involved, but this female apparently was not at the party. There wasn't any conversations between the two of them that night, so I don't know where that stuff's coming from. No idea. We're not going to entertain it here because there's no proof, but if something comes out with the police, then that's whenever we'll address it. And now we see this. So I don't know if they got some information from this guy that was like worth something, and it's just taken this month and a half or so to track it down and get to the point to where they're looking in a certain place or not. But it'd be really interesting to know the facts on that, especially since so many people were looking at this guy's post. And I went today to try to find it, and now it's gone. And I will say that it was there for a few days after I was first told about it and went over there and saw it. But again, as of today, the day that this search is continuing, it's missing from his page. But for right now, that's really all there is. There's apparently some stories that Kimberly claims that the family have, received tidbits of information about, and the themes remain the same. The suspects in the stories remain the same, no matter what the source is, where the source is, who the source is that's giving them the information. That's extremely interesting. But there's not a lot of information out there. They're really trying to keep things as clean as possible, which I totally understand. But who's to say that something's not getting missed in all of that? But this story literally is a mystery. He went into a house with friends that he knew. Granted, it wasn't anyone that he knew's party, but he had friends with him, friends that were supposed to be watching out for him. He's only there for about 25 minutes, has trouble opening the front door to get out, and within 3 to 5 minutes, he's pantsless? In 3 to 5 minutes, he's walked outside, taken off his shoes, taken off his pants, put his boots back on, and then has started making phone calls talking about how he's cold and pantsless. And just like that, poof, no answers, right before his birthday, and years have gone by, and they've gotten no closer. Everything can change like that. But that's it, you guys. That's all the information that I have on this case so far. The timeline is the most interesting thing to me because it's so short. It's so short. But let me know what you guys are thinking about this case down in the comments. Share it out to people. Hopefully somebody will have an answer. Maybe somebody saw something and they just don't know that it's a thing yet. That actually happens all the time. I just hope that his family gets answers and they get them very soon. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you were not subscribed already. And please don't forget to make sure that that notification bell is set to all so you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives. See y'all.